Welcome to another episode of Transform Perspective with Kyrah. So, in today's episode, we are talking about the role of forgiveness in inner balance and inner peace. What role does forgiveness play? Now, forgiveness is huge and we don't always know where to start and what that even means. Like a lot of people just say, like, I forgive you, or you need to forgive them. And it's like, how do I do that? I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I really appreciate it. All the love and the support. And just a reminder to subscribe and follow on Spotify as well as TikTok and other platforms for more free content. And also check out my Etsy shop because I have my latest product, Guided Mind, which is a 3-part self-reflection guided journal. It's physical as well as digital, so definitely check that out. Want to put that out there before we got further into this episode about forgiveness. Now, I know everybody's definition and the way that they look at forgiveness is different. You know, some people think, like I said, once you say, oh, I forgive you, you're forgiven. Some people may think otherwise. I think forgiveness kind of goes beyond just the words of saying, I forgive you, or even forgiving yourself. And I think it really starts with acceptance. I think acceptance really is forgiveness. You are no longer, holding on to any baggage in regards to whatever the thing is that you're trying to forgive, whether it's within yourself, like forgiving yourself, or other people, or when you're in certain situations and circumstances. It's more so just accepting it for what it is. Now, that doesn't mean that you're okay with the things that you're forgiving, like you're just naive and saying, oh, like, yeah, it's fine. No, it's just saying this happened, whether within myself or with other people, so on and so forth. And I no longer want to carry this baggage with me. I think when people say you're forgiving someone, or even yourself, not even just, I guess this only applies for other people, but if you're forgiving someone else, I think when people say you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you, it's so true. And I used to not get that when I was younger, and hearing that, I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. But you really are forgiving other people and other things for yourself, because you're the one that's carrying that stuff around if you don't. If you don't accept it for what it is and move forward, you're carrying it. You're carrying the emotional baggage, you're carrying the trauma, you're carrying the experience over and over. And it's like you already experienced it. You already felt it. You don't have to hold on to it. And this is just in regards to other people and circumstances. I think forgiveness with yourself works the same way, but maybe a little bit different as you're learning yourself. Sometimes we have to forgive ourselves for the choices that we made, or our past, or how we've treated other people, or the things that we've done in certain circumstances. But I think it all comes down to just acceptance, accepting that, yes, this happened, or yes, I did that, or yes, I allowed for that, or yes, I was there, and yes, yes, but that was then and this is now. Maybe I was that person then, but this is who I am right now. And I don't have to hold it against myself or hold it against other people. Even though it can be difficult, you don't have to carry the baggage. And that's ultimately what it ends up being. And when people say you're forgiving other people for yourself, I think that's what they're referring to. Is like you are putting down that baggage, that pain, that, trauma or whatever it is, you're putting it down for you because you don't have to carry it. And sometimes when you're not forgiving other people or different things that you did in your life, you're holding on to it, and those people can move on with their lives. Like they may not even think about it, or may not even care about how they treated you, or even how they treated themselves, or what they've done, but you're carrying it. And it's like, you don't deserve that. You don't need that. Life goes on. And so I think that's kind of what that's referring to. It's like you're holding on to that weight and that pain, which is going to affect your life, your health, your well-being. And you don't need to, especially when a lot of other people don't carry it. A lot of people don't care. And if they do, they should put it down too, because if it's already happened, if it's already done, leave it where it's at. Life is temporary. Life keeps on going. Everything keeps on moving. And so when you are, holding on to this baggage, you're just putting up a resistance that is only going to do you harm and other people harm if you are still connected with them or in their lives, or even if it's just like circumstances and places that you are in life. It's only going to affect you in a negative way. And it does take time. I know some people feel like you need to forgive quick and get over things quick, whether you're forgiving yourself or other people, but it does take time, and everybody does it in their own timing and in their own way. But I definitely think it's more than just, oh, I forgive you. Yeah. You can say it all day and still hold resentment, So I don't even think it has to do with just saying the words. I think it's more of an action and more of you letting go and moving forward in your own way. And I feel like you feel a lot lighter, and you're not replaying these things in your head or holding on to them. You just let bygones be bygones and then do differently moving forward, whether it's in regards to other people or yourself. Sometimes we definitely have to forgive ourselves for things that we've done or didn't do, or for the person that we used to be. It's just like you're constantly evolving and growing, and you don't have to punish yourself over and over, especially if you've already dealt with, having to be held accountable and kind of going through some things because of what you've done. You already went through it. You don't need to keep punishing yourself for it over and over. Like it happened. It's done. It doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to become this identification and another layer of fog in your life, like you can be clear of it. And I think when doing this, when it comes to forgiveness of yourself, of other people, of other experiences and circumstances, the past or whatever, I think it then helps you kind of come into this balance. Season 2 is all about looking at our inner world and how we can balance things out mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And so since that is the theme and we're talking about this, I think forgiveness definitely plays a huge role in that. Being able to let go of that emotional baggage and the mental chaos and stuff in regards to past experiences and people and things that you've been through and I think it definitely has so much to do with that, and is a huge part of you getting into that balance, being able to let these things go and move forward and accept them as they are. And just know that it doesn't have to repeat, especially if you learned your lesson from it. It doesn't have to repeat. You can just accept it as it is. Okay, this is what it was. This is who I was, but I'm right here and I'm right now. I learned my lessons from it, but I don't need to carry it anymore. It's enough right here in this moment. So when it comes to finding that inner peace and finding that inner balance, ultimately you do have to forgive, whether it's other people, whether it's yourself, because if not, you won't, it'll be chaotic. You won't have peace. You won't feel balanced. You'll feel all over the place. You'll be living in the past or worrying about the future and very disconnected from the now. And so in order to ground and, be healthy and wealthy in the here and now, forgiveness must take place. But I think it depends on you, Like I said, it takes everybody a different amount of time to forgive, to move forward. Everybody's journey is different. It depends on the situation that happened or the people that were involved or what you did. And, so it's unique for everybody. But I think acceptance is what we're all capable of doing in our own timing. I feel like that is what forgiveness is. People never explain things, especially when you're growing up and you're learning, because I think there's two things. Either they don't know how to put it in words, they don't know how to explain it themselves, or they don't know at all. And they're just kind of saying what was passed down to them, But I've noticed that with like growing up and stuff, especially where I am now, I'm just like, nobody explains anything. Like, you really don't get clarification on stuff. Just from my personal experience, we say these phrases like follow your heart and forgive and do this and do that, but there's no instruction manual on how to do it. And sometimes we can take these definitions and these beliefs and these ideologies and these things that were passed down to maybe help us. Sometimes it can be used to harm others, but when people are giving advice and saying these different phrases and stuff like forgive, it can be used to try to help you, but we don't get an instruction manual on how to do it. It just comes with life experience and lessons. And I feel like that's how you learn to truly forgive. It's just through your life experience. We can tell each other how to do it, but really you have to just go through a situation or a circumstance or interacting with other people and learning about yourself to realize what that means for you and how to do it. And so from my experience, I've learned that forgiveness is just acceptance. It's accepting things as they are, or as they once were, and being able to look at it for what it is. And just look at things from a broader perspective, from a transformed perspective, going kind of outside of yourself and looking at things from different angles and just having compassion. It's not about being naive. It's not about letting people walk all over you or you just doing whatever you want, even though it may be hurting yourself or unhealthy. It's about seeing things as they are and then being able to take steps forward in a new way. And when it comes to like forgiving other people, it doesn't mean that you just let them do whatever they want or treat you however they want. You don't have to have people in your life and you can still forgive them. Or you can have people in your life or invite them back into your life and move forward and forgive them. Either way, you don't have to even see these people ever again. And then when it comes to yourself, you can forgive yourself and not constantly punish yourself over and over for it. I think when you truly forgive yourself, you're not beating yourself up about it. You're not replaying it in your head, You recognize it for what it was. You learn the lessons that you learned from it. And then you allow yourself to move forward because you deserve a second chance. You deserve a second chance within yourself, with yourself. And other people do too, depending on the circumstances. And then sometimes people don't. But when it comes to yourself, it's okay to start fresh. It's okay to move forward. And just learn. I feel like as long as you learn from your experiences, from these circumstances, from these lessons, that's all that really matters. And if you don't, you just go through the cycle again, and it can be torture. But yeah, once you learn it, move forward the best way you can. And that can't really be taught. You just have to learn what works for you from trial and error. What does it look like for me to move forward? I think for me, it is letting go of the mental activity of replaying it over and over in your head. Like if you make a mistake, like, oh my goodness, I was late for my appointment. That's okay. Just know next time, hey, I probably need to get up earlier. I probably need to do something different in my routine and prioritize this, set a reminder or something so I can get there on time next time. So maybe I didn't get there on time this time, but forgiveness is like, okay, I know what I did then that I can now do differently because I learned from that, and then take those steps to do it and then do it. That's it. But not forgiving yourself would be beating yourself over and over constantly. And every time you have every time you have an appointment, you're just like going back to that one time that you were late and feeling like you'll never be on time for an appointment again. It's like, no, let's be real. That was then, this is now. Just because you make mistakes or do things in the past doesn't mean you're going to repeat them over and over. But sometimes we develop these beliefs and create these beliefs over one situation or one circumstance, or even if it's multiple times, and we then create this belief that this is going to continuously happen, But that is not the case. Like, oh, I keep messing up with this, or I always do this, or, it becomes your identity, or you put that on other people. Like, yeah, they treated me this way this one time. This is who they are. And it's like, no, maybe that was a lesson you needed to learn during that season, But yeah, people change, things change, we evolve, and it's okay to forgive and move on. And learning how to do that is something that I feel like becomes clearer as you get to know yourself. You get to catch on to these little patterns and beliefs that you have when you take the time out to spend time with yourself, whether through journaling, whether through meditating, whether through working out, whether through dance, listening to music, however you want to connect with yourself and take out time for you as you begin to learn how your mind is working, what's going on emotionally and in your heart and in your life. I feel like it becomes clear on how it's best for you to forgive and best for you to move forward for yourself and with others and in your life. You cannot find inner peace or inner balance and just grounding and just being here in this moment. I feel like you can't really take that in and be in that space if you don't forgive. I definitely think it starts with the mind and how you view things, your perspectives, mentally, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, all of that, the inner world. So I think just discussing it and sharing our perspectives and views and what we learn will help us all kind of move forward and progress. But yeah, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe. The goal is still 1K. Share this video with anyone who you think it would benefit, anyone who's still learning to forgive, or just want to, work on their well-being. Definitely check out some of my other content as well as my Etsy shop because I have a new journal out called Guided Mind. It is a 3-part self-reflection guided journal. And that is a great way to start with self-care and learn about yourself. So check it out. Like this video. And last thing, remember, it is not about perfection, but committing to expansion. Have a transformed perspective.